Hello. It is time for Paladino Live, and this is episode number 13. It is the 20th of May in the year 2008. And we have a pretty big show today. I mean, really big. Really big. We're going to try to crunch as much as we can in a relatively short time, as these podcasts can't be too long, just because. Now, first of all, we are on thesportstuff.com. That's right, thesportstuff.com. And we are also available on iTunes and MediaFly. I thank all of you, each and every one of you, for downloading and listening to Paladino Live, the main product of Paladino Live Productions, which is multiple podcasts. Of course, this is the main one, as I just said. There's also Purple Mafia. That's right, Purple Mafia, where we focus on the Minnesota Vikings. That is also available on thesportstuff.com. Definitely check that out. It's also available on iTunes, and boy, oh boy, I know some of you out there listen to Purple Mafia, and it's doing really darn good. And I'd like some of you guys to come over here and listen to Paladino Live as well, that are Purple Mafia listeners. So, welcome aboard. Also, we do have a call-in line here on thesportstuff.com. It is 916-912-4263. 916-912-4263. It is a voicemail line. Call in. So basically, treat it as a voicemail. Treat it the same way you treat any voicemail. You call in. You address which show you are calling for, like Paladino Live or Purple Mafia or whoever. And then you state your opinion, your comment, your complaint, your trash talk, your congratulations, whatever it is, you know, like congratulations on your Timberwolves landing the number one pick. Oh, well, no, they didn't do that. Yeah, we'll get into that very shortly. But yeah, that is the dilly. Now also, we do have a message boards, very important that you get signed up here on thesportstuff.com. The TSS boards button is on the upper right-hand corner of the front page of thesportstuff.com. We'd like you to sign up and join in. It is 100% free and 100% fun. It is 100% worth it, as you can interact with all of us. There's also a live chat box on thesportstuff.com boards where you can interact with all of us, like, Gottsman or Farzine or Dylan, whoever, you know. A lot of us come on there. Rusty, of course, cool guy. Dang is on there a lot. He's a real cool guy. P-Mac, lots of great, they're also podcasters on this site. Basketball, football, hockey, lots of stuff on here. Definitely check it out. We want you on board. Now, I'd also like to quickly mention I do have a YouTube. It is youtube.com/Paladin Joe. youtube.com/Paladin Joe. We have entertaining video game reviews on there, along with some sports talk, sports takes, especially during Viking season. Last year, haven't done as many Wolves videos as I'd like. I just with my busy schedule a while back. I'll probably get into some more stuff soon. I'd like to get into my next game review soon, as I have targeted which game I'm going to review. I do hope you check it out. Now, one last thing, myspace.com/Paladin Joe, or Paladino Live, myspace.com/Paladino Live, okay, one word, Paladino Live, same thing on Yahoo Messenger, Paladino Live, one messenger, one word, also on AIM. I do hope you enjoy the MySpace. I'd like you to add me on there and get into more interaction, some more buddies on there. Hope you enjoy the show. Now, we're going to hop right into the show here today in a second. As first of all, today's show, we are going to discuss the Stanley Cup playoffs, as we do have a Stanley Cup Finals matchup now. The conference finals are over, and they are what I expected. Of course, the series were quite a bit less competitive than I expected. Quite a bit less competitive, especially the Flyers one. Also, we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. We're going to get hard and heavy into the Wolves, of course, because the draft lottery did occur tonight, and the Wolves landed the third pick. Didn't move up, didn't move down. Just we're overdue for a little bit of luck, because everybody's moved up except us, and I do mean everybody. We have not moved up a single time ever, and it's irritating. And got almost got in a little tussle with some members on the chat box tonight regarding that, because they just wanted to hop on me saying, "Oh, whatever, you're mad because you didn't win the lottery." Well, it's a little easy to be disappointed. We're a little jaded as Wolves fans because we've been getting, we've never had any luck. So, whatever, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to get any further into that garbage. With that, I'm going to return. We are going to get hockey out of the way first, and then we can get hard and heavy into the National Basketball Association. Again, no Twins tonight because there's just too much going on. Pretty soon it's going to be Twins. That's going to come. But yeah, I shall return very quickly to talk hockey.
What's up, listeners? This is Farzine. I am the host of the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com, where we cover the Kansas City Chiefs, give our opinions, and go deep inside with the Kansas City Chiefs right here only on thesportstuff.com. We encourage you Chiefs fans, you loud Chiefs fans out there, to get on the show, voice your opinions, get on our boards, and talk with us. All listeners, including Bronco fans, are allowed in our show. So be sure you check out the Chiefs End Zone Show right here on thesportstuff.com with me, your host, Farzine.
Here on thesportstuff.com, get on board the Viking ship with Purple Mafia. We will talk about the new Purple People Eaters and the best running back in the NFL, Adrian Peterson. This team is ready to make a move forward. Purple Mafia is available on thesportstuff.com, along with iTunes and MediaFly. Simply download and listen to the most honest and passionate Vikings coverage. And we are back here on Paladino Live. It is time to talk some puck, some hockey puck, baby, and first of all, we've got a little deal here with the Minnesota Wild Steelers girl bringing a little information to the table once again, and I thank you, Steelers girl, for that, as you have been great in bringing in some topics to the show. It is Minnesota Wild related, so before I quickly hop into the Stanley Cup Finals, the headline of this article from Canada.com, the Providence. So that is the paper. The headline states, "Why Gaborik may bolt from Wild." That's not good. Now, as quotes or states, Marian Gaborik has a year left on his deal, and it's widely expected he would prefer to play a more wide-open style, likely with one of his Slovak buddies. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not surprised that's coming up, but anyhow, Doug Risebrough will obviously have a huge amount of money under his nose on a long-term extension. What is this? Excuse me. I apologize. Doug Risebrough will obviously waive a huge amount of money under his nose on a long-term extension on or shortly after July 1st, which is as early as he can approach him. But the return of Jacques Lemaire has raised questions as to whether Gaborik will sign on for more dump and chase hockey with third and fourth line players at this odd coach's whim. If Gaborik balks, there's no way the Wild can allow him to walk at the end of the season and get nothing for him. Very true. That means, obviously, if things aren't working out, they're going to look to trade him. Now, yeah, that is a scary thought. Now, I was kind of worried about that myself with Jacques Lemaire and Gaborik. I personally am not convinced Gaborik and Lemaire are the right fit. I'm really not. I've longed for the longest time. I've wondered just how good Gaborik would be in a more open style of play. I mean, I'm thinking the guy could get 80 to 100 points. I do. I think he could. Now, quickly, I really think he could. Now, obviously, he has to stay healthy, as it took him, his whole career pretty much to play almost every game. He did miss about 5 games this year, but for the most part, he stayed healthy. And he started out awfully slow this year for my liking. It was very frustrating. But his defensive game has improved dramatically the last 2 years, so that is the one major positive, along with his team play. Now, a quick response by Gotts yesterday, Andrew Gottsman, the host of TC Talk. His comment is, playing alongside Dimitra and Ralston isn't enough. The guy finally stayed healthy for most of a year. He'll be lucky to get the money he wants from someone other than the Wild. Yeah, that's kind of true, kind of not, Gotts. I don't know. I don't think Dimitra and Ralston are really that great. Now, a lot of Wild fans out there are going to disagree with me on that. Some might agree, especially on Dimitra, as I just thought the whole Pavel Dimitra thing did not work out. I think it did not work out at all. I was unhappy with the trade when it happened. I actually was. And people convinced me it would work out because, the whole Dimitra and Gaborik chemistry bit, and that they're going to be, just phenomenal. And yeah, it sure looked that way the first couple of months last year, but then it wasn't the same. It really wasn't. In the long run, Dimitra is injury prone. He is not physical at all. His defense sucks. And I thought Pavel Dimitra underachieved in Minnesota. I don't know if it's age, I don't know what it is, or if he just underachieved. I'm not too happy with him. Ralston, a very good player. He's not my favorite player on the team by any stretch of the imagination. He's just not. I don't know what it is about Ralston. To me, he seems like the kind of guy, he'll score goals, but he's never somebody you can really count on to get a goal when you need one. That's what I've been trying to tap on for the last, 2 years or whatever. And I'm not really sure he's the greatest passer ever. Dimitra is a very good passer, and that's where he was a help for Gaborik. The thing is, I'm not sure Gaborik really played much with Ralston. So I don't know about if that comment's exactly accurate. Lemaire does shuffle the lines a lot, and he's a confusing coach. And I wouldn't have been heartbroken if Jacques Lemaire decided to step down. I was almost quietly hoping he would, but he didn't. And expecting Jacques Lemaire to change his ways is kind of like asking asking your grandfather to change political beliefs or something, or to drop his temper attitude or something. I don't know, just something simple like that. It's not really going to happen. You can't teach an old cow new tricks, or old horse, whatever the comment is. So it's a tough situation. I would love to keep Gaborik for his whole career, despite the fact I'm not convinced you're going to get as much offense out of him under the Jacques Lemaire regime as you might under any more offensive-minded coach, which is, of course, the direction the Colorado Avalanche are going, as they fired Quenneville and are moving on in the more offensive direction like they used to be when they won Stanley Cups that way. So we shall see. Now it is time to slide over to some real hockey teams. And I love the Wild, trust me, I love the Wild. I'm just making a comment because these teams are unbelievable, folks. I mean, these teams are about as good as I've seen in a long time. The Stanley Cup Finals will include the teams that most of us expected, the Detroit Red Wings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Clearly, and I mean clearly, the two best teams are in this series right now, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. You got Sid the Kid on center stage now for the real deal. The one thing the Pittsburgh Penguins have going for them in this series is they have never lost a Stanley Cup final. Now I know the past is the past, and 1992 doesn't really mean as much in 2008. But hey, sometimes history repeats itself, especially when the team is established like that, over the years. Pittsburgh Penguins, of course, 2-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals. Detroit has lost a couple. Granted, they've won three Stanley Cup Finals series in a row ever since they lost the '95 one to the New Jersey Devils. And yeah, that's who I'm picking to win the championship. I am sticking to my guns with the Detroit Red Wings to win the Stanley Cup. It's going to be a close series. It is going to be epic. I mean, we're going to see some phenomenal players going at it in this series. Of course, you got Sid the Kid, you got Evgeny Malkin and Marian Hossa. I mean, wow. All three of them just unbelievable in this postseason, including Sergei Gonchar and left wing Ryan Malone. There is just some superstar talent on this team. Now, Pascal Dupuis, there's a guy who was just, wild veg. Remember, that guy is going to be the main factor in this. No, I'm just kidding. But Pascal Dupuis did have 6 points in 14 games, so that's cool. I didn't even realize he was on the Penguins until lately. But yeah, and one of the absolute main reasons the Penguins are doing really, really well in this postseason is not just the big three or big four or whatever. Really, the Crosby, Malkin, and Hossa dealy, but Marc-Andre Fleury has been unbelievable. 3 shutouts. His record is 12-2 in 14 games. 12-2. So the Penguins are yet to lose enough games to lose a 7-game series. In the first 3 rounds, yes, that's how hot the Penguins have been. Goals against average at 1.7, a save percentage of 93.8 for Marc-Andre Fleury. So the Penguins have a legitimate chance to win the Stanley Cup. They are ultimately, they look like the next Edmonton Oilers. I mean, they look like they're going to be one of those teams that people are going to be like, man, what an awesome team. Like 15 years from now, people are going to be talking about this Pittsburgh Penguins club. What an awesome dynasty they had, back in the late 2000s and the 2010s or whatever. It's going to be a phenomenal team for a long time, as the Penguins just back-to-back phenomenal draft picks over there. You can't lose with this Penguins team. They might lose the finals this year, but they will be back. And if they're not back, here's my quote. I will be shocked. I will be absolutely shocked if they're not back again. That would just flip my wig, Now, over to the Detroit Red Wings. Now, they are 12-4 in the postseason. That's pretty darn good. They did lose 2 games to the Dallas Stars in the Western Conference Finals after taking a 3-0 lead, though. After taking a 3-0 lead, and real quick, the Penguins took a 3-0 lead, lost Game 4 to Philly, but then finished them off. So, yeah, the Penguins, a little bit better record in the postseason, but nothing horrible for Detroit. That's just going to happen. Dallas is not exactly a horrible team, by the way. They're an aging team, but a team that was, that's still pretty stacked. Now, here's the team I am picking to win the championship. Chris Osgood, their goalie, the guy that's going to go against Fleury, his numbers actually, very similar. 10-2 for Osgood since replacing Dominik Hasek, who was pulled after the first series. As he was only 2-2, Dominik Hasek 2-2, goals against average of 2.91, save percentage of 0.888. But Osgood 10-2, as I said, 1.6 goals against average. Only one shutout, so Marc-Andre Fleury has 2 shutouts on him. Save percentage of 93.1. So ultimately, the stats would favor the Pittsburgh Penguins a little bit in this series, but Detroit does have home ice advantage. They have more experience, and I think they're just this is their year. I think this is the Detroit Red Wings' year to win the Stanley Cup. Though this is going to go 7, folks. This is going to be a 7-game series. I think this is going to be the last hurrah for some of the Detroit Red Wings legends. I'm not sure they're going to be back in the Stanley Cup Finals right away. Not for a while. I mean, there are some older guys on this team. Nicholas Lidstrom is is he 38 here? Yeah, he turned 38 on April 28th. 70-point season, though. Oh, my God. As a defenseman, just wow. He is unbelievable. Chelios still playing. Chris Chelios, well, he only had 12 points this year, yeah, but so what? The guy is a legend, and he has just been unbelievable his whole career. Obviously, his point total's dropped over the years, but he's still who he is. He is 46 years old. Chris Chelios is 46. That is about as old as I've ever seen in a hockey uniform. That is just unbelievable. And Osgood, it's kind of crazy that he's actually back there. But the guy who's been the leader for the Penguins has been Henrik Zetterberg here in the postseason, along with Pavel Datsyuk. Zetterberg with 21 points, Datsuk with 19, Johan Frazen with 15. So you got some solid players on these Pittsburgh Penguins. Brian Rafalski with 10. So I do think the more veteran club is going to win this thing by a hair. A 7-game series, probably like a 4-2, 4-3 win in Game 7, Saturday, the 7th of January. I don't know what I'm saying there. But yeah, it's going to be a 7-game series here, folks. If the Penguins win, it would be a 6-game deal because there's no way. I don't remember a home team losing a Game 7 in a championship series. I've never seen it happen. Other than the only one I know of is the Twins losing Game 7 in the Metropolitan Stadium in 1965. So, of course, it was a Minnesota team losing to the Dodgers and left-hander Sandy Koufax shutting out the Twinkie box. So that's pretty much the way that's going. I look forward to the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm sure all of you do also. This is going to be a ridiculous series. It's going to be one for the ages. But the Penguins will be back. Regardless if they win or lose, they will be back. And they will be back over and over and over again. As long as all goes well, the guys stick together. Even though this is a free agency era, I think some of those Pittsburgh Penguin players have some sense to stick around, and I think they will. So that is my opinions on the Stanley Cup Finals. And I will return very quickly, and it is time for some big-time basketball talk.
What's up, everyone? This is Farzine, host of Kansas City Boom on thesportstuff.com, where we cover the Kansas Jayhawks, the Missouri Tigers, the Kansas State Wildcats, and other local college teams. We also touch on the Brigade, Wizards, Royals, and other sporting events in the heart of America, Kansas City. Only on Kansas City Boom. Listen to Kansas City Boom right here on thesportstuff.com with me, your host, Farzine. I'll catch you on Kansas City Boom.
And we are back here on Paladino Live, and it is time to talk NBA basketball. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves real quick here, and then I'll get into the actual draft and such. Well, I mean the draft. I'll get into the playoffs. I was debating on which to talk about first. I'll go with the Timberwolves first, as it's mainly the Minnesota deal here. Now, the Chicago Bulls win the 2008 NBA draft lottery. They were supposed to go 9th, I believe. Yeah, they were supposed to go 9th overall, and they're the reason the Wolves are picking 3rd instead of 2nd, as the Seattle Sonics dropped to number 4, Memphis to number 5. Chicago Bulls, number 1 overall pick, Miami number 2. So it's a shame that it went that way. It's too bad it wasn't Miami 1, Minnesota 2, or vice versa, because this is a 2-player draft overall, the 2 big-time players, and then you go into the second tier and whatever, third tier. I don't even know where the third tier drops off, probably about 9 or so. So, yeah, we're kind of stuck with the deal of if we don't make the right decision, we're going to look like morons. And, well, the consensus first overall pick is Michael Beasley, going to the Chicago Bulls on the Chad Ford's mock draft. And, yeah, I agree with that because Derrick Rose, to me, is the best player in the draft, especially for the Timberwolves, as I endorsed the crap out of him a month ago, and over pretty much every show I'd bring up the Wolves. Derrick Rose was my guy 110% of the way. Way back when everybody was saying Michael Beasley was the best player. And, well, yeah, he is, but Rose is the best fit. And maybe even Rose is the best player because he's not only is he a great point guard in general with his strength and everything, he's a great defender too. But no, Derrick Rose is probably not the right fit for the Chicago Bulls at this point in time because they're stuck with Kern Heinrich already. I mean, I know the Portland Trailblazers made that mistake by passing on Michael Jordan for when they already had Clyde Drexler. But I don't think Derrick Rose is the next Michael Jordan or anything at this point in time. And it's not like Michael Beasley's the next Sam Bowie. Okay? So that's where Portland screwed up back in '84. Now, Michael Beasley, to me, is going to make the Chicago Bulls dramatically better. And, man, I was just beside myself when the Chicago Bulls won this draft because they already had a pretty solid team. They just had a bad year. And a lot of people are saying that they still need a coach, unfortunately, is they don't have one. D'Antoni didn't go there. They got rid of Skiles. Avery Johnson, maybe he'll go there. Maybe he'll go to Phoenix. Phoenix and Chicago still coachless. So those are pretty big-time jobs available right there, especially now with the likelihood of Michael Beasley heading to the Windy City. That'll be a perfect fit for the Bulls. Miami, of course, taking Derrick Rose to go alongside Dwayne Wade to form what could be a extremely talented trio in Miami. Extremely entertaining. Man. Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, and Sean Marion together. Whoa, that is going to be a fun team to watch. Miami Heat fans celebrate despite, you may not have gotten the number 1 pick, but you didn't drop below number 2. So you're coming out of this really, really well, regardless of what happened with the Bulls. Now, the Timberwolves didn't move down, so I have no right to be upset, right? Yeah, I have no right to be upset, but I have a right to be a little disappointed because this team is overdue for a little luck, and they've never had luck, and I don't think they ever will, and this is just more proof of it because it's a 2-player draft, and they get the 3rd pick. And Chad Ford has us taking Brook Lopez, which from Stanford. Yeah, this is a need pick, not a best player available. And I don't like it. Brook Lopez, when I look at his numbers here really quick, to me, he does block shots. He had a 2.1 per game last year and 1.7 in only 25 minutes is his freshman year, 30 minutes last year, 2.1 blocks. So that's a stat I do like about Brook Lopez. But here's what I don't like. In his freshman year, he only averaged 6 rebounds a game. 6. In his senior year, he averaged 8.2, along with 19.3 points a game. So those numbers aren't horrible or anything, but they're not the kind of numbers that make me kind of go, woohoo, this guy is going to take over. Because that is 19.3 minutes in college. That doesn't translate to the NBA. It just doesn't. The guy might be just another Rajo Nesterovic, and that's my biggest concern. I'm sick and tired of centers on the Timberwolves, that come in here and are soft, slow, and they just and they don't rebound. Lazy basically. They don't rebound. Now this guy does at least block shots, so that's something that is intriguing about him. Now, does that mean he's going to do that on the Wolves? I don't know. Or in the NBA in general? I don't know. He better. For his sake, he had better. Now, Brook Lopez, I guess he'd be my second pick. He'd be the second guy I'd take. Only because Jared Bayless, who they have going to Seattle, would be my, is too similar to Randy Foye, as that is the constant talk about Jared Bayless. He's just another Foye, and what's the point then? Do you trade Foye? Do you put them together? That'd be kind of weird. I don't know. That'd be weird. Like, you just to try to, I guess, it's been done before, but this isn't exactly, the old New York Knicks backcourt in the 70s when they had a deal like that. So, yeah, there's no guarantee they're going to be those guys. So, the Walt Frazier type deal, I don't know about that. But the guy I will endorse as not only the best player available, but the guy I would take, despite the fact it is a position of wealth on the Timberwolves at this point in time, is the guy they have towing to the Memphis Grizzlies, number 5. He is shooting guard O.J. Mayo of the University of Southern California. Shooting guard O.J. Mayo, I officially endorse for the Timberwolves at number 3. I think he is the best player available. Absolutely. And when I look at his numbers here, he played only 1 year. He was a freshman at USC. And 36 minutes, about 37 basically, minutes in 33 games as a freshman again. He averaged 20.7 points as a freshman, folks. Freshman. Brook Lopez averaged 12 points a game as a freshman. And here's another thing, though. Look, you know how he's a 6'4 shooting guard, 6'4", 195 at age 20? 4.5 rebounds. 4.5 rebounds. And another stat, 3.3 assists. He is a multi-dimensional player. Also, 1.5 steals. Now, they're saying his defense is not that great, But whose really is? That's the one thing you got to worry about OJ Mayo. You don't want him to be another Rashad McCants. But here's the thing. I don't think there's any chance he's another Rashad McCants. Because when you look at his numbers, his rebounds and assists, I think he's going to be better. And there is just nonstop talk that this guy is easily the third best player in this draft. And he is only the third. There are three guys with star potential in this draft. And OJ Mayo is the third one. So you got to take that guy. You got to take the best player available. I may change my opinion. We got about 5 weeks or so to go. Now, his free throw percentage was 80%. His three-point percentage was almost 41. Pretty good. Field goal percentage, 44.2. So not the best, not the worst. He did average 3.5 turnovers, so that's probably the biggest drawback. He does turn the ball over a lot. So that's something to worry about a teeny tiny bit. But I think he would be a gigantic upgrade over Rashad McCants. And that is when you send Rashad packing, because you will have your shooting guard, your permanent shooting guard. You either send Rashad packing or he is going to have to accept a sixth-man role. Now, McCants could start out the year as the starter and then Mayo just beat him out. It could go that way. We'll see. But that is who I want on the Timberwolves. There is some talk about Danilo Gallinari. Danilo Gallinari going to the possible thing the Wolves might look at as well at number 6. They have him going to the Knicks, the New York Knicks, because he would be a perfect fit for Mike D'Antoni, as they say. Yeah, he's an intriguing one. He's multidimensional, but yeah, he's not. They say he's not really athletic, so that's a problem. Now, Larry Bird wasn't athletic either, but Danilo Gallinari is not Larry Bird, so good luck with that one. Other than that, it's really hard to say. Really hard to say what's going to happen. Henry Lake of the Sludge and Lake Show here in the Twin Cities on KFAN really likes DeAndre Jordan. He's a center for Texas A&M, but the mock draft has him going 14th to the Warriors. So that could pretty much, unless you're looking to move down, we'll see. Now, Henry Lake was absolutely right on Danny Granger years ago. That was back when the Timberwolves had the 14th pick and took Rashad McCants with Danny Granger and Hakeem Warwick available. Danny Granger, clearly the best player out of those three. He is the best player on the Indiana Pacers right now. He's better than Jermaine O'Neal. So we'll see if Henry Lake is right again. That was a really good pick by Henry Lake. Now, with that, we're going to quickly segue over to the playoffs. Now, I did pick the Detroit Pistons to win in 5 games, and guess what? I was actually dead on. I picked the Pistons to win the first 2 games, lose the third game, and win games 4 and 5, and I was dead on. So that worked out great. I wish I was a betting man when it came to that series. I would have made some money. The Celtics I picked them to win in 6. They won in 7. So, okay, the Celtics did, again, not winning a road game. They needed to win game 6 for me to be right, and I was close, but didn't happen. Cleveland wins, forces game 7, but the Boston Celtics get it done at home again, like the old Celtics always did on Sunday afternoons, as they like to say, those Sunday afternoon game 7s. Boston advances to play the Detroit Pistons, and that's actually right now, it's on in the background. Boston winning. So, yeah. Switch over to the Western Conference real quick. I picked the Lakers to win in 5. I was wrong. I was close, but I was wrong. LA to win games 1 and 2, lose game 3. I was right there, but the Jazz surprised me and won game 4 in overtime, 123 to 115. But then LA taking care of business in games 5 and 6, and a rare road win to clinch things in these playoffs, as that's just not been happening at all. Only really LA, Detroit, and San Antonio, as I'm about to get into, are really proving themselves as road warriors, if even a little. Detroit beating Orlando in Game 4 put them to death, and of course LA in Game 6 putting the Jazz to death. That was the deal there. But now, well, I said it was either going to be the New Orleans Hornets in 5 or 7, and I was almost right on the 7 part, as the Spurs, the Hornets wins games 1 and 2, as that was on the last show. The Spurs won game 3, which like the entire universe expected, but then the Spurs also win game 4, another 20-point victory, or a 20-point victory. That was disappointing as far as I'm concerned. That was when, I was like, okay, then it's going to go to Game 7. It ultimately did, as the Hornets really hammered the Spurs in Game 5. That was beautiful, and I said, sweet, now they'll probably win in they'll probably win in 7 games, because there's no way San Antonio's going to lose Game 6. It was a 101-79 in favor of the Hornets. Spurs win by 20 almost. Well, they won 99-80 in San Antonio, but unfortunately, the San Antonio Spurs win a 7th game on the road to defeat the New Orleans Hornets. And the Spurs have done this before. This is not the first time the Spurs have eliminated somebody on the road. It sucks. I don't like the Spurs. I've seen enough of them. I know they're legends, and that's great. Nothing's going to change that. They're going to go to the Hall of Fame if most of them retired today, they'd be in the Hall of Fame. So Duncan would be, Greg Popovich would be, probably Ginobili and Parker. Robert Horry would be in the Hall of Fame, yes, because nobody wins 7 championships, and he hits so many big shots down the stretch. And guess what? Robert Horry, came back to life, as he has pretty much been, he pretty much was buried on the bench this year because he's getting so old. But guess what? Guess who hit tons of big shots in that Game 7 was Robert Horry. He did it again. Robert Horry lives, folks. And the New Orleans Hornets, my favorite little team in this playoffs, could not get it done. I was cheering for them all the way, and I think they're not done on their run, because Chris Paul is just getting started. That is going to be a fun little team to watch over the years. But they're going to have to worry. They're going to have to worry about the Jazz and the Lakers, though. Spurs aren't going away just yet, unfortunately. They'll probably be good for another 2 or 3 years. Unfortunately, LA is going to be good for a while. The Jazz are going to be good for a while. So the best 4 teams were in the Western Conference, and unfortunately, it appears the best 2 are in the Western Conference Finals. That is going to be an amazing series, as now it's time to quickly switch to the Conference Finals. Of course, Boston right now is winning 71-60, as I can see in the background. So that's the deal there. It looks like Boston's going to win the first game. And this is going to be a really tough series to pick. I guess, I don't think the Celtics, I don't know. Detroit is the one team that can beat Boston, I think, in the Eastern Conference. At least, LA and San Antonio maybe and probably could, but overall. But I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. The remaining 3 teams can beat Boston at home, but I'm still, it is so tough. I kind of get the feeling Boston is going to pull this thing out in 7. I'm getting the feeling this thing is going to be a 7-game series, as I've been thinking that all day. It's a tough pick. It's a really tough pick. We all hate being wrong, but I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics in 7. Boston in 7, despite the fact Detroit is a team that is absolutely deadly and absolutely can beat the Celtics in Boston. Boston has to win a road game sometime or other. They just do. It's not necessarily they're going to this series. And they can win, as long as they win all 4 home games, they will win the NBA championship, by winning all 4 here and all 4 in the next round, because they are the home court team. So I'm going to go with Boston Celtics in 7, because if this series goes to 7, the Celtics will win. Just like the NBA Finals, the Celtics will win Game 7. Period. End of conversation. So if Boston can survive and go to Game 7, it's over. The championships, they will win number 17. Now, San Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers, an epic Western Conference Finals about to begin. This Final Four is just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There is no Cleveland Cavaliers or any lame team or Utah Jazz in the conference finals this year. This is the 4 absolute, clear-cut, dynasty potential teams all together, ready to rock and roll. Spurs are a dynasty. Pistons were close to being one. Celtics could become one, and the Lakers could become one. So, yeah. That's the deal there. Man, tough series to call. These both are really hard. Now, LA proving they could beat Utah on the road, and Utah is almost impossible place to win. San Antonio is virtually impossible to win on the road. Virtually impossible to win on the road in the postseason. God, I don't know. It's so hard to pick anybody to win on the road this playoffs. But I do think the LA Lakers advance to the NBA Finals. I guess I'm going to go with 7 here. I'm going to go on a 7-game series. LA Lakers win in 7. They're going to win by like 2 points too, because the Spurs are going to be hitting big shots down the stretch. The Duncans and the Oris are going to like make this thing very tough in Game 7 against the Lakers. They may even win. They might even win this series, but I'm going to stick with the LA Lakers to come out of the West, as my initial picks were Boston and LA, and I'm going to stick to my guns, as they're both going to survive by the slimmest of margins. And we'll see what happens, as I am just excited to watch this. Now, Rajon Rondo has been just a big factor for the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. Absolutely wonderful. Eddie House, huge for the Celtics in Game 7 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That was one of the best games I've watched in a long time. Absolutely beautiful game between LeBron James and Paul Pierce. It looked like Dominique and Larry Bird. You know, it was just wow. You know, like literally 20 years ago, right about this time, as that was a 7-game second-round series. Hawks and Celtics, beautiful back in the old days. It had that kind of feel, and that's why it's so cool to see the LA Celtics. Now, could be that in the finals, but yeah, there is kind of an 80s feel in these playoffs. That's why I could see a Boston-LA final. It'd be cool. Obviously, Detroit was around back in the late 80s, going against the Celtics, so there's a lot of that going on right now. Kobe Bryant has been an absolute leader. Phil Jackson is the best coach ever. Paul Gasol has been big. Robert Horry is back. Chauncey Billups is a great playoff guy. He's a great regular season guy too. Andrew Bynum done though, and obviously that's not good. If Andrew Bynum was around, it'd be an easier pick by picking the Lakers over the San Antonio Spurs. But, it's going to be a down to the wire. So either team could win that series. That's basically a pick 'em. That's why I'm saying the Lakers are going to win by like a basket in Game 7. It's just going to be one of those deals. Might be like 3 overtimes, seriously. Same with Detroit and Boston, by the way. That's going to be close. It could be Detroit and San Antonio. It could be a rematch of the 2005 finals. That would be a pretty good series, too. But I do think the flashier teams are going to go, Boston and LA, just like in hockey. So we'll see what happens. I am looking forward to it. Do enjoy these series, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to thank all of you for listening and downloading to this show, as we are about to wrap things up for now. And again, OJ Mayo, the consensus pick for me, if I'm the Timberwolves, that could change. Maybe Brook Lopez wins me over with some new information or something. Who knows? Maybe Jared Bayless is the pick. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it's Randolph. So we'll see what happens. I want to wish all of you a good week. Let's hope the Timberwolves make the right choices here and see the right talent when they invite these players over for workouts, as they can finally do that. Let's hope for the best, all of you. See if Detroit wins the Stanley Cup. See if I'm right there. Boston and LA. We shall see. Take care. Enjoy the wonderful month of May.